Welcome to Three Voices Unfiltered, where no topic is off limits and everything gets real. Join us,
Ronisha,
Theresa,
Suzanne, as we dive into hot topics, share our wildest experiences, and bear our honest opinions and thoughts. Buckle up, because with us, it's always raw, always vibrant, and absolutely unfiltered. Hello, welcome to another episode of Three Voices Unfiltered. My name is Suzanne.
I'm Ronisha.
I'm Theresa.
And we're so happy to have you here today. We're happy to have you for every episode.
Yes, we are.
And we hope that you're enjoying our episodes as you join us each week. So this week, we will be talking about a very deep, necessary, and important topic. Word, and that is forgiveness. So hard to forgive people, so hard to display, and just forgiveness is just hard, period. And it's necessary because it does so many things to us when we hold on to bitterness, resentment, and sometimes hatred even, right? Mm-hmm. So what does forgiveness mean? Let's start there and then we'll go into our conversation. So forgiveness is the conscious decision to let go of resentment, anger, or the desire for revenge towards someone who has wronged you. Do you think that that's kind of what forgiveness means to you?
Do you know I've never looked up the definition of forgiveness? So that sounds about right.
That sounds right. We're just holding on to this anger and not letting go for whatever reason we may feel that we were wronged. And it's really hard. Do you find it hard to forgive? Are you one of those people, I'll forgive him and keep it moving?
No, and sometimes you don't even know that it's the forgiveness that you should be doing, that you should be, giving them. We just get, as human beings, we just get stuck of what has been said to us and what has been done to us. Okay. And that's where we are. And some people hold on to it, longer than others. Some people forget about it. They just forget about it. But there's a lot of things in our life that we really do need to consciously, on purpose, forgive people for. And I guess where we get stuck at is that it's not that we're condoning what was said to us and what was done to us. We're not condoning it. But forgiveness that I learned is not for the other person or the other people or what has been, it's for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just can't, a lot of us just can't grasp that concept.
It's really for yourself.
It's really for yourself.
I'm very easy to forgive. Like I forgive people very quickly.
Oh, that's great.
I do.
I'm kind of in the middle. It depends what happens. But I will say I will not hold on to unforgiveness for decades or years. I don't do that. I kind of feel that I'm not hurting them. I'm hurting myself. Sometimes they may not even know they did anything to you, and you're holding on to this anger and bitterness, and they have no idea. They're living their life like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
So that's what this makes, I believe it makes this topic really hard because there's so many dynamics to it that we need to explore in order to just release, just let it go.
I have a good example. The man who murdered my brother.
Yes.
My mom said she had to forgive him. And that was tough. I mean, I know that was tough for her. That's her child. So, and even for me, that was my brother. Not to want this man to die because he was being considered for the death penalty. And, as believers, as Christians, we're taught we're supposed to, forgive. But when you're in that situation where somebody has taken your family member, it's something you really have to talk to God about. Like, it's not as easy as it could be or it could seem.
It's hard to forgive someone when we think about murder or hurting a child or things like that. We're like, fry them, but and we might momentarily feel that way. We might momentarily feel like, I had a friend that was murdered, and I was like, he needs to go to have the death penalty. He needs to die.
Yeah.
He killed her and their 5-year-old daughter. And I just, he could have been run over by a truck 10 times and I would have been cheering the truck on.
I think for me, I think what's coming up in my spirit right now, even before we started talking about this topic, was that, do you think it would be easier to forgive if we can remember that we're not dealing with like the flesh of the person that has said what they said or committed what they
Good
did.
point.
We're dealing with the demonic spirits, okay, that they're dealing with, that are causing them to, that has caused them to do whatever they did. Now I know that's a little bit, I don't want to say difficult, or that concept is hard to like really, really grasp, for some people, but that sometimes gets me through, certain things if I'm going to forgive somebody, because I'm thinking about, or if I get angry with somebody, say I get angry with somebody, what am I mad at? Am I mad at, that person, that fleshly person that said what he said or she said to me, or that did what he did, or, he or she did to me? Or I'm mad with what's going on in their lives that's attached to their spirit that has caused them to A, B, C, D, to do what they did.
Yeah, that's a good point, Theresa, because I'm thinking about what you're saying in terms of giving people grace, forgiving people. I think about Jesus, and I think about how many times I know in my life I've asked him for forgiveness for something I've done. Or I've asked him for grace or mercy for something that I did. And I use that in terms of when I'm dealing with people. Because I know that I go to him on a daily basis and ask for forgiveness. So that's kind of what I do in terms of forgiving people. I'm like, I know he forgives us all day, every day. Things that we don't even know we're doing. Consciously, unconsciously, whatever. So I use that same premise when I'm dealing with people, because God loves his people. As jacked up as a lot of us are and a lot of people are, he loves his people, and he wants us to be the conduit to his people, to do well, to do good, to give, to share, to forgive, to love his people. So that's my approach now. And I feel like this happens as your relationship develops with God. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you're a believer. Now, I love everybody. I forgive you. It takes time. So I think the more you dive into your relationship with him, the better equipped you are to do some of the things that are hard. Fleshly, it's more spiritually. So you forgive people based on your beliefs and what God is.
What about getting to the root of what happened, what was said to you? Why did it make you so angry, or
it depends, I guess. Yeah.
That's true.
One of my things is we have free will. God gives us free will. And just because I can hurt someone or somebody make me mad, I can go off at them, I still have a choice.
Right.
And sometimes that's what makes me a little bit, it's like, you had a choice to be ugly to me or not be ugly to me. You had a choice to be kind to me and respect me, or whatever the situation may be. And sometimes that bothers me, that they're not making the right choice. And sometimes people will do it in the name of God. That's happened to me. I had a situation,
true. And that's
where people
wrong.
That's wrong. People were super ugly to me. I was in a spiritual abuse situation that I didn't understand it was spiritual abuse until I was told by a counselor that it was. And I really did not like this person. This person was mean. I could probably say the meanest person I have ever experienced in my life. This person was mean. And it was all done in the name of Christ. It was all done in the name of to make you a better disciple, to make you help you grow in Christ. And I started loving them. I turned to literally hating them. But I knew that was wrong. I knew that unforgiving them was wrong. So I would get on my knees and I would pray and pray. And at the end, I realized that there's a book out there that says love is a verb. So loving them, actually loving them when I didn't feel like loving them. I didn't feel like giving them that hug. That was tough. But I went and gave them that hug. Nice to see you today. Oh, your dress is really pretty. Just kind of doing things to break through my own unforgiveness because I didn't want to live that way. That wasn't me. And eventually, I loved them. I really did love them. Unfortunately, they didn't change. So I had to make changes and remove myself from the situation. And that's going to be on them. And to this day, I don't forget, which is one of the misconceptions of forgiveness and forgetting. I don't forget the experience. I can't forget that was really traumatic, but I have forgiven them. I don't want to be friends with them. I don't want to be in a relationship with them. And that's okay. Just because you forgive doesn't mean you have to be friends with them. It just means that you're clearing your soul out of this blackness and you are just living life carefree without, they're not consuming you. I've known people that they're so unforgiving that it consumes them.
Yeah.
For years and years and
I remember
years.
going on a date with this guy. It's funny because we went on a date when I was really, really young. I mean, like 20 years old. And then years later, we connected and he had been married. And on the date, he was talking about his ex-wife.
Oh, boy.
And how crazy she was. And he said he hated her. I hate her. And she took all my money and she did this and she did that. I'm like, you need to forgive her.
Yes.
You are, every time I spoke to this man, he talked about her. And I'm like, he's crazy. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I stopped talking to him because it was about his ex-wife. I remember going on a date with him that day. He would drive. He was like, see, that's her salon. I put all those dryers in there. I was like,
he was hung up.
Bless his heart.
My gosh. It just ate away at him. He couldn't move forward. Unforgiveness keeps you stuck.
Yes.
It does keep you stuck. And it's like because it affects the quality of your life.
It does. It's
and your mental health.
And these people are either dead, okay, or they have moved on.
Yes.
True.
All right.
Yes.
And in some cases, they don't even know that they hurt
that you're mad at them.
As bad as as they did. You know what I mean? And that's why I said it's about you. You forgiving is all about you.
And about your peace of mind.
And your peace of mind.
Yeah, there's a quote here by Lewis B. Smedes that says, to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that prisoner was you. You're setting yourself free.
Absolutely.
You're not setting them free. How about when they don't come and ask you to forgive them? That happens. That's happened to me a lot. People have offended me or hurt me. They never came and asked me to forgive them.
Yeah, I don't know.
It happens. It happens
I never
a
had
lot.
someone to ask me to forgive them that have hurt me.
And you're waiting. Sometimes you're waiting. I just need them to apologize and I can move on. And they never apologize.
Yeah, that's why.
Right?
Yeah.
That happens.
That's why you have to.
You have to let it go.
You have to forgive. You have to forgive.
Yeah, because sometimes they will not apologize. Either they don't know what they did, and then you have a choice to go up to them, which I haven't
It
always
really
done
depends on the relationship, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I can see if you're married and your
I'll
spouse.
tell John all day long.
If you're married with your spouse and they do something to you and never apologize and you're seeking an apology,
I'm playing up going to say, you need to apologize to me. For what? They don't matter.
Yeah.
Because what did you mean for what?
And then sometimes people will apologize and people still don't accept their apologies.
That's true.
I do accept.
They will be going to be stuck stuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that, because it's feeding them something. I don't know what it's feeding them because I don't know what that looks like. But some people want to be mad. They
some
want to be
people want to be
and
mad.
they want to stay there.
Or they
They
feel
wanna
like
stay there.
it wasn't as heartfelt. They felt like it should, or it wasn't done in the way that they wanted it done. And
Oh yeah.
then you just got somebody that's controlling how you ask for forgiveness, and they're never going to be satisfied no matter how you ask.
Yeah.
And I think that's just your attitude. Like if my new thing now, you brought up spouses. If I'm mad at something and he'll come to me and say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I will ask him, what are you apologizing for? Because I want to know that he knows.
Oh my God, no.
That may be a bad attitude, but
Don't do
sometimes
that.
I know, poor John. Because sometimes, I guess that exactly what you said. Sometimes people, or was it you, that they apologize and they don't. How about people apologize? They don't mean it. They just want to say sorry to get you to stop being mad.
It's fine.
I mean, what you gonna do?
It's okay.
I'm sorry. What you gonna do about it?
We're talking about moving on from this. Let's move on with our lives.
I'm just saying that because if I feel this way, I'm sure there's at least one listener out there that feels this way.
It's a lot of people that feel that way,
we need
but
to sort it out.
we control our own emotions. So
Yes.
I feel like it's a little
free
bit
will,
of
like I said.
emotional intelligence where I don't need you to know exactly. If I come to you though and I say you hurt my
Sometimes.
feelings, you hurt my feelings. You don't even have to say I'm sorry. Just acknowledge that you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I acknowledge that I did that to you.
Yeah.
I'll try not to do that again. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like here tapping. Where's my apology? It's 10 o'clock. You haven't apologized. Where is it?
Yeah.
Like it's too box. Now I'm in this rut. I don't want to be in a rut.
And to be fair, you can't I mean, at least me, you're very easygoing, so maybe not so much.
I am.
But if I get mad or offended, I stay there for a couple days. Depending on how bad it is, I might stay there for a couple of days. But I think it's okay to give yourself that time to process.
Absolutely.
Some people
And
need it.
I think I need that. I need to. Why did they do that, or what did I do to? I don't want to repeat the same situation, so I think about it and then I forgive. Then I'm like, fine, and I move on. But forgiving is just hard.
I was married to someone who held grudges. It would go several days without speaking to me because of something that I did that I didn't even know I did.
Oh no.
And that was like a waste of my time. A waste of those marital vows.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not with him anymore.
Yeah, it's like
Have you forgiven?
I haven't. You know what? We had a women's group and they asked that question. I've forgiven him and I actually have prayed to God about him and
That's
asked God
awesome.
to change his heart.
Yeah.
Because that's a sad, lonely life to be that way.
Yeah.
it is. I had an experience recently to whereas I heard someone who has a lot of unforgiveness in their heart and was saying, mean things about different people in their past life. And the only thing that I can do, you guys, was I had to start praying. I had to start praying for that person because there was no need, because my flesh wanted to say something. Go in there, How can you, why are you?
Right.
This don't make no sense. Get over it. You know what I mean? No, they ain't thinking about you. Blah, 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 blah. But that's not it. That's not it. Holy Spirit said, pray.
I like that.
And I was doing
I like
stuff.
that.
Look, I'm praying as I was doing what I was doing, because I heard what I heard. And I just started praying as I was doing what I was doing. I didn't even stop doing what I was doing because, God, He listens to us. And I just started praying and then started focusing in on that because I did not want that person to continue with that feeling that they have been feeling in their heart, and they've been feeling that in their heart for a lot of years, So,
Wow.
It amazes me, people like your mom, and you see them in court a lot that maybe have had a family member murdered or something, and they're like, I forgive you. And I
She did.
appreciate that because I don't, honestly, I'm not going to tell you that I could. I would hope that I could, but I don't know.
But forgiveness brings about peace
Yes.
in you. And we want to be at peace. We want to be peaceful.
Yeah, because the bottom line is that unforgiveness, it does affect us.
It does.
It affects us
It does.
mentally. It affects us emotionally, and it affects us physically.
It does.
And it just really does. I mean, it just
causes stress.
There's a saying that to try to be better, not bitter, and try to be, and we should be better. And we're going to get mad, and we're going to, it's life. Life is going to be life, and like you say.
Life be life, y'all.
We need to get t-shirts that say that.
Life be life.
Life be life, but I think love is greater. Love is greater than hate. Love is greater than unforgiveness. And even if forgiving someone that doesn't deserve it, sometimes they does not deserve to be forgiven. But we need to do it anyway because of some of the, not only does it affect our mental health, it affects us emotionally. We could be, imagine someone there for 50 years, which I've experienced someone like that, talking about that they did this to me and they did that to me. And I'm like, but didn't that happen like in 1967?
Yeah.
And they're still holding on to that grudge.
That's sad.
And it affects
Pray
our
for
money
that person.
physically. Yeah, it affects our heart rate, tension, headaches, our immune system.
And then blaming them for, your lack of progress or your lack of not having or your lack of this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're moving on.
And it's like, don't blame them.
They're not even thinking about you.
I mean, it's painful. It's painful. Like you talked about rejection, and it's painful when somebody hurts you. We get it. However, you have to find a way to move past the hurt to get to the other side so you can be who you need to be.
Right.
For whomever you have in your family. Like Theresa, that was funny. I thought about that when you were saying that. I thought about a woman at the altar and a man leaves her at the altar and never marries her. That's painful.
That's huge.
How do you forgive somebody? You have to. Because you want to move on. You want to experience love again.
Yes.
Maybe
you could be blocking your blessings, for the next person.
Maybe that was a good thing. No, that's exactly right. Maybe that was a good thing that he left you at the altar so you didn't have to deal with him.
Let me tell you something. This is a really, really good quote that Suzanne brought to our attention, and I love it. It says, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it kills your enemies.
Wow.
By
But
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
But it's going to kill you.
Oh,
It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. They're moving on. They're not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are, and let them. That's their thing. But the message today is to take care of yourself, your mental health, your physical and emotional health, and just forgive. Join us next week for part 2 of this episode.
Do us a big favor and hit that like button, share this episode, and subscribe.